Okay, well, as Alan pointed out, we actually started down this path of probiotics in the late 1980s. We were doing research throughout the late 70s and into the early 80s, looking at the relationship between these critical little positive, healthy, happy, good bacteria and how they affect our body. To a great degree, you are a product of your gastrointestinal tract's microflora, and it is a product of you. Okay? So you guys, there's this little symbiotic relationship that goes on, and if you treat it well, it will treat you well. If you treat it poorly, it will treat you poorly. Okay? If some of you were probably down in Cabo, and I think Dr. Clayton lets the cat out of the bag about how these organisms talk to each other, how the organisms of your gut talk to your brain, how your brain talks to the organisms in your gut. It's a very complicated pathway, and it's a very big emerging area of science. We've been talking about gut-brain communications for more than a decade now, but it's starting to become a research topic that's going to get a lot more attention in the future. So it's because of the relationship with these things. So probiotics and prebiotics. The normal, healthy, functional digestive tract contains trillions of bacteria. Now, you think you got 73, 72, 75 trillion cells in your body. For every cell, you probably got 10 bacteria in your gut. So 700 trillion gut bacteria. Bacteria are much smaller than cells. So, and that's, you got some on your skin. It's everywhere, right? It's called your microbiome. This is both good, friendly, good, and potentially deadly, bad. Make up that bacteria. This is called your microbiome, your personal microbiome. It's a cool word. It's hard to define what it means, but it means all of the microbes that coexist with you in a harmonious or non-harmonious way on your body, from your skin inside out. Maintaining a healthy balance between good and bad bacteria is key to gastrointestinal as well as overall health. So if you want your gastrointestinal system to function properly, you need to think about this. But if you want to feel overall healthy, you need to think about that too, because everything passes through your gastrointestinal tract on its way to your body. Water, and everything but air. Okay? So really important. So anyway, probiotics and prebiotics. Probiotics are live, parenthetically live. They're not actually alive, they're viable. They're like seeds in the sense that they're not doing anything, but if you plant them in the right place and give them the right moisture and sunlight, the seeds will grow. Same thing applies to probiotics. They're like seeds, and they're in stasis. So we hold them in stasis, and you can plant them in your gastrointestinal tract, and they will grow. They are called good bacteria because they are known to provide benefits to human gastrointestinal health and functionality. So probiotics are things that are known, bacteria that are known to provide benefits to humans. Neolife Acidophilus is a powerful, proven probiotic supplement. All 5 of the organisms that are in there are known to contribute very valuable benefits to the gastrointestinal tract in terms of probiotic activity. Okay? Prebiotics are generally defined as, so the probiotics are the organisms, right? The viable seeds, if you will. Prebiotics are generally defined as non-digestible dietary components that promote the health, vitality, and functionality of probiotics. So you've got these probiotics down here, and what you want to do is you want to feed them. So prebiotics are things that feed and support them. Okay? It's important to realize that if you have a junk food diet, this microbiome is going to adapt to that junk food because they can't thrive on things that aren't there. So if you're having a junk food diet, then you're going to have a junk food microbiome. And they're going to be very resistant. One of the reasons why we, getting off the track a little bit, in the detox program, why we tell you to stop eating and just drink lots of liquids and get on the Neolax and the garlic is to flush those bad boy bacteria out of there, clean the whole slate, because very likely you've got absolutely you will have a microbiome that reflects whatever your dietary practice was up to that point. And if you decided that you're going to change your life and lose weight and become strong and healthy again, the thing you got to do is get these guys on your side right away, and they're going to resist that, so kick them out. Just kick them out of there and recolonize with good guys and get these guys on your side as quickly as possible. That's why we go through that process, is to promote that. The low amounts of prebiotics are found naturally in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, including plant source fibers. So all of those sorts of things are present in our product line, right? Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and plant source fiber. Neolite fiber and polyphenol-containing supplements provide serious prebiotic compounds, so they are prebiotics in their own right. We have, if you look at the way we put the Acidophilus Plus together, you'll notice that one of the components in there is a potato starch. Potato starch is a carrier, but potato starch is also a food supply, if you will, like a prebiotic for those organisms when they arrive there. So they got taken a little food along with them. In fact, your microbiome is a reflection of your diet. Poor diets promote poor microbiome community, right? Garbage in, garbage out. If you consume a lot of garbage, garbage begets garbage, right? If you consume a lot of healthy foods, then healthy foods will get a healthy microbiome. Good nutrition can reshape your microbiome. That's why when we bring people in and do the detox program and start them on that process and get them on good nutrition, we can reshape that microbiome. Whole food nutrition causes your good bacteria to thrive while holding your bad bacteria at bay. Okay, and why this is important. Okay, let me give you a little gastrointestinal story now, because there are some boogeymen in your gastrointestinal tract to be aware of. Deep down in your colon, there's this thing called E. coli. Okay, and you know, E. coli has the potential to kill us, because when it gets on our spinach or into our food supply, the reason that it's recalled from the food supply is when you consume that, you can get very sick and die. E. coli is a pathogenic organism. It naturally resides in the lower portion of your intestine out of necessity. It actually plays roles there that are important. But outside of that environment, it can be very deadly to you. There are others down there as well that do the same thing, that these are the region of the bad boy organisms down there in the colon. Okay. When up here in this part of your body, when things enter your stomach, stomach is highly acidic. So they enter your stomach, and the mass that leaves, it's called chyme. As it leaves, it's highly acidic, and it carries it on through your intestinal tract. And as it moves through your intestinal tract, it becomes more alkaline. It loses some of that acidity. But that's important to have that acidity, because it's the relationship between the acid and the alkali that keep the bad boy microorganisms where they are. They are very acid sensitive. They do not thrive in an acid-rich environment. Matter of fact, quite the opposite. They are controlled by an acid-rich environment. Acidophilus, which are probiotics, Acidophilus Plus is a probiotic, but Acidophilus organisms, Acidophilus, acid-loving organisms, not only do they love the environment, the acid environment of the intestine, they actually promote that acidity. And by promoting that acidity, producing acid, lactobacilli, like you find in Acidophilus Plus, create this acid barrier that keeps those bad boy bacteria down where they belong. Now, if you might run into people out there who have had problems with overgrowth through the gastrointestinal tract. One of the bad boys down there is called Clostridium difficile. Clostridium difficile is a really, really bad thing to happen. It's when this acidity gets dropped. Generally, it's because you're taking antibiotics and they're killing off the good acid-producing organisms, but not affecting the guys way downstream. That Clostridium begins to work its way up your gastrointestinal tract, and left long enough, it will completely work its way into your stomach, and you will end up clinically at risk of dying in any moment when that happens, because your digestive tract will become completely infected by this Clostridium difficile. And it's only because you're not producing enough acid here in these organisms to keep those guys at bay. So it's really important that we understand the role of probiotics, acid-loving things. Like in our product, you have Acidophilus, Lactobacillus acidophilus, Lactobacillus casei, and Streptococcus thermophilus, and all of these things that are acid producers and help with digestion and so on, that are there not only to take care of that, but to act as a barrier to keep the bad boy bacteria down where they belong. Because if they get out of there, they can cause real big problems. So they promote the health of digestion and absorption of things. These organisms participate in digestion. They boost immune resistance. A big part of our immunity starts right here, okay, in your gut. So a lot of the things you're exposed to are taken care of before they ever get passed into your gastrointestinal tract. And if you think about it, your body's very, very artfully designed to keep things from entering in that it doesn't want inside there. And certainly pathogens and things like that is one of them. They produce antibiotic substances. Okay, they produce substances that help keep certain types of bad bacteria and yeasts and things like that from overpopulating the thing. They discourage the growth of disease-causing bacteria. That's the E. coli's and the C. difficiles, and they block pathogenic intrusion. That's the growth of those pathogens coming up into your gastrointestinal tract. You don't need to know all this. What you need to know is that we know. But it's important to understand that these things are very functional. They play very important roles. And we don't think of our gastrointestinal tract. We think of digestion and absorption and all of that, which is good and important. But we don't actually think about caring for the inhabitants of our gastrointestinal tract. Because if they're not cared for, you can have serious problems, digestive problems, and so on and so forth. So Acidophilus Plus, I want to talk about this for a moment. It's concentrated active cultures. You get a lot of this down there. As you can see, it's 1 capsule equals 10 servings of yogurt. And very likely, most of the acidophilus in that yogurt will not survive your stomach. Your stomach likes protein. It breaks it down very quickly. The action of hydrochloric acid on proteins is part of the primary digestive process, and it sees acidophilus organisms as just another source of protein. It wants to annihilate them and break them down to amino acids. So the vast majority of the acidophilus you'll get from these things will not make it. Some of it will, simply because of the mass. And it's equivalent to 5 servings of acidophilus milk, which probably wouldn't make it either. Okay, so it's very concentrated. There are 5 types. Each of the 5 that are in there have clinical proof of benefit. There's a long history of safe use, meaning that they've been shown to be present in the gut for a long time, and that adding them to the gut is beneficial. And they do all of those things I just told you about. They are all whole food derived. These are not, created in a laboratory or hybridized through genetic modification or anything like that. These are naturally occurring organisms that we continue to tap into these natural food derived sources. One of the things that makes our product work so well is the gel guard technology. Gel guard technology is the thing that allows these acidophilus organisms in this little tiny capsule to make the transit through the stomach, which would annihilate them and get into the upper regions of the digestive tract. The technology here is it's acid resistant but alkaline sensitive. Okay, for us, it's pretty simple. For the rest of the world, they still haven't figured it out yet. I mean, you can do it, but it's complicated to do. So you create a coating that actually protects it from the acid, but as it moves into the intestine and the material gets more alkaline, you can actually have that coating dissolve. Not only do we have it dissolve, but we can actually target where it's going to dissolve. Where in the small intestine is this thing going to reach an alkalinity point that thing's going to dissolve? So that's what we call targeted delivery technology. It's based on this gel guard, this process by which we use to protect the contents. And it's a powerful value, as you can see from what you'd have to consume to get the equivalent of 1 capsule. The gel guard technology, you can see things in the capsule. There's 5 billion organisms. There's a gel capsule, and the gel guard is a thing that goes over the outside of the capsule. It's an exclusive, it's like enteric coating, but it's a little more complicated than that. Gel guard enteric coating system protects, like I said, the microflora as they pass through the stomach, gently releases the potency of the active cultures in the lower intestine to support digestive health. And we've done clinical work to check this out and confirm it. We've done disintegration studies and dissolution studies in our own artificial stomach and artificial intestine in the laboratory. Every batch of this that is produced has to survive that criteria before it's ever released. So it's one thing to produce it and know that you've got the technology. It's another thing to validate your own technology every time you do it, which is something that we do naturally. This has been around for a while. When we first introduced the product in '87, we didn't develop the gel guard technology at that point. That came along. We never sort of rest on products. We're always investigating and improving and trying to find better ways to do things. This is an example of a big improvement. The other product worked really well. This product works excellent. Was almost an order of magnitude better in terms of its performance and delivery.